Hey, it's Sergio. The only real requirement in order to realize and manifest your deepest desires into your experienced reality is belief at the subconscious level. And the easiest way to get belief at the subconscious level is to use visualization. It's one way to bypass that bouncer at the door, the conscious mind that's constantly telling you, but I don't already have this. That's not true, right? When you're doing affirmations. This is the surefire way to get past that bouncer and get the idea implanted into your subconscious mind. And no matter how out there that belief is, if it gets accepted into your subconscious mind, it will be reflected back at you in your experienced reality, no matter what. This is what Jesus was talking about when he said, if you believe and do not doubt, even if you tell this mountain, be cast into the sea, it will happen. Even something crazy like that, because it's not about, asking a certain way or doing certain things. It's about actually having belief, but belief not at a superficial surface level, at the subconscious level. So in this video, we're gonna go over exactly how to do this. And this is something that I use day to day in my life, constantly. From small things like manifesting, the perfect parking spot, for example, to, getting a presentation to go exactly the way I wanted to by visualizing the comments that I will receive afterwards. Same thing with the performance as I'm playing guitar or singing. And all the way to actually manifesting more income. And we manifested the exact family car that we wanted and needed, but we couldn't afford at the time, through this exact technique. So it's all very practical and stuff that you can actually start to use today as you go to sleep. And I'll try to keep this video fairly brief here, but we're going to go over the science and the actual ancient principles behind it and what makes it work, why it works and how it works. The actual technique, where you can use, again, like I said tonight, using all the 5 senses and visualizing as you go to sleep, and going even a level beyond that into what this is pointing to, and actually how to level up even past needing to have this type of visualization technique. This is step number 1, but I can get you further today. We'll start here. So the science behind why this works, and then the principle behind it. And you might have seen some of these studies. They pop up every so often, and they often will be double blind and all the due diligence scientific method. And one of these studies was a study. They actually I've seen a few, but for example, if somebody is trying to learn how to become better at free throws, scientists were able to examine 3 groups of people, control groups, that one of them was specifically looking at physical practice only. Number 2 was mental practice only for free throws in basketball. And control group number 3 was absolutely nothing. And what they found was that groups number 1 and number 2 had pretty much within 1 percentage point difference, the same level of improvement tested rigorously in scientific method, within 1% difference in the level of improvement. I think the physical was 1% better than the mental, and I think it was like a 20-something% improvement. I don't have the study right in front of me. And as you would expect, the group that did nothing had 0% improvement. So this kind of tells you right away that the brain, the mind, doesn't know the difference between something that you're actually performing in the physical realm and something that it's experiencing just through the visualization. And you see this sometimes when you're watching a movie. I know this happens to me when I'm watching a movie and Tom Cruise is at the top of a high-rise building and my hands start to sweat and I'm looking at the view and I'm like, but I'm not in that movie, but my body doesn't know the difference. So I start to experiencing that as if I'm in that movie. That's the same idea, right? So your body's having that physiological response to that scene, even though it's all in your head. Literally, you're seeing it, but you're not there, right? So it's just, if you can visualize to that level, you're going to have that same physical response, and your body doesn't know the difference, your mind doesn't know the difference, and that's how you end up with implanting your subconscious mind. The other study that I saw was related to piano. Same thing, where a group of people were practicing piano, and you have one group that was physical only, a group that was mental only, and a group that did nothing. And in this case, I think they didn't measure improvements. They measure actual brain tissue connections in their brain. So synapses and that type of thing. And they found exact same results between the physical only group, where physically touching the piano keys and practicing, versus the mental only group, where they would practice a piece and only do it in their mind's eye and feel the feelings of touching the piano keys, but only in their mind, not in the physical piano. So this was like, there's zero difference at all between physical and mental in this case. And sorry about that. Coffee. And the reason why this works, sorry, my voice, I don't know what happened to my voice. The reason why this works is actually there's an ancient principle behind all of this that you find in Hermeticism. But all the ancient, so like in Christianity, Jesus was very well aware of this as well. So the principles behind this have to do with reality being a simulation. So basically, we're living in a simulation right now, like the Matrix said. I like to think of it more of it as a dream in the mind of God. So you got God up here, and in God's mind there's a dream, and there's me and you over there in the mind of God, just having a conversation. And we're experiencing reality in that way. So we're all fractals, a part of God. So as Jesus said, I and the Father are one. And the same way, I am one with you. He was talking to the disciples and those that would come after. So Jesus was kind of pointing to this already, where we are made in the image of God. We're made from a part of God. And we are not only sons and daughters of God, but as Jesus said, before Abraham was, I am, and people picked up the stones to stone him, right? So this is all kind of points to the same thing, where Jesus even quoted the Bible. It says, does your Bible not say that you are God's, right? So we are just as a part of God as he was. We've been grafted into the vine, but we are one with Jesus, and Jesus is in us, and God is in us. And I'm getting a little off track here, but looking at this esoterically, this points to us just being a part of that dream in the mind of God. In the same way that individual has a dream at night. For example, if you've ever had a dream where you were maybe traveling cross country and meeting all sorts of people, and holding objects and going distances and talking to people and having people surprise you, tell you jokes that you didn't expect, or people try to hurt you or chase you and you're afraid of them, and then you wake up and you realize this was all in my mind. Literally all those things, those feelings, those people, those distances, all of that was just me. It was all part of me. The same thing happens in reality, where we're in this dream in the mind of God. Because we're in the mind of God, we're in the mental realm. And this brings us to the Hermetic principle of mentalism, where it says the universe is mental, right? So you have the three planes of existence, the three realms, where it's spiritual, mental, and physical. And bear with me here, this is all going to make sense. This is how manifestation works. This is how visualization works. So you have your spiritual realm, which is basically going back to God here, right? So this is your true nature, right? So your higher self, you can think of it that way, or the absolute is the spiritual realm, and things a little less little more fuzzy to actually touch on, because you can't really speak about God, as God is indescribable, but that's, again, getting off topic. So you got mental realm, which is what everything is composed of anyway. It may seem like objects around you are physical, but it's just like in the example that I gave, where you're in a dream and you're in a car and touching the steering wheel, but that is not a physical steering wheel, even though it feels like one. You're actually inside your own mind, in your mental realm, in that dream, and you only realize it when you wake up. Same thing here. So you have the spiritual, the mental, and the physical are all kind of part of the same illusion here, same Maya, same simulation, so to speak. And because of that, and because everything is on that substrate of mind, you can use your mind, which is a fractal of God, to influence the world around you. Much like a lucid dream, where you're able to fly in your dreams. I don't know if you've ever done that. I've done this. Or affect your dreams in some way because you know that you're dreaming. And in that same way, this is what's happening here. You're using your mental likeness of God in order to modify the dream around you. And the way to do this is not a surface level idea of what your manifestation needs to be. It needs to be at the subconscious level, which I like to think of it more as an iceberg analogy. That's pretty bad iceberg, but I think you get the idea. So at the top here, you have your conscious mind, and at the bottom, you have subconscious. And subconscious mind is much more powerful than the conscious mind. And there's many reasons for this, and it's kind of a natural thing, but basically you're looking at another Hermetic principle of polarity, and there's a male and female energy that go into everything in nature. Same thing happens here, where the conscious mind is male and the subconscious mind is female. And just like in nature, you need both in order to create something, but the female part of it is what brings forth the creation, right? So if you have an idea that you're trying to manifest, and you're doing affirmations and just day to day repeating that in your mind, and you believe it consciously that this is already something that I have at the conscious level, unless you can get that idea to somehow make its way to the subconscious mind, subconscious awareness, and be accepted into the subconscious mind, it will never be birthed into your experienced reality. And yeah, so it just comes down to being able to implant that into your subconscious mind in a way that it's accepted, without the conscious mind trying to block you from getting that idea accepted. And once you do have that idea accepted, so you go from the mental to the physical, that's when you will see that presented to you, reflected back at you in your reality in due time. Just like Neville Goddard talked about this, where a chicken takes so many months to have gestation, and then a human is 9 months, an elephant, I forget, it's like 24 months or something like that. So everything in nature takes its own time. In due time, you will get your manifestation showing up to you in your reality as well. And you only need to do this, technically you only need to do this once if you do it right, and you will experience that reality in your world, right? And this brings me to the actual technique that you need to do this. Is very simple, and the best way that I've found to do this is when you're, like I said, when you're going to sleep, you're closer to that hypnagogic state where your conscious awareness is a little bit more out of the picture. It's less likely to put a blocker on things. It's less likely to kind of say to you, no, that's not true. You're lying right now. You're lying to yourself, right? So all the negative talk that comes with something like affirmations can be bypassed if you go during these times. And if you use something like visualization, which I'll go into the details on how that works in a second. So you're basically using visualization in order to bypass the conscious mind, the bouncer at the door that's trying to keep things from getting into your subconscious mind. Neville talked about this in a way like you're getting into the room with your subconscious in order to purposely impregnate it with a belief that will eventually be birthed into reality. So anyway, and there's a lot of this in the Bible as well, where visualization is an aid in order to get you to internalize that idea into your subconscious mind to a point where it is believed by your subconscious mind, and then it gets reflected back at you. We saw this with Abraham when God made it real for him by having him visualize stars as your descendants will be as numerous as the stars or the sands in the sea, right? So just having that visual allowed him to start to internalize that and implant that into his subconscious. Jacob had a story as well where he was able to visualize using a particular pattern on rods. It's kind of a longer story, so I won't go into that, but that's absolutely true as well. So there's this precedent for this type of visualization in the Bible too. But the simplest way to explain this is, like I said, you're doing this at night, right before sleep, or right after waking up. And so right before sleep, you're gonna lie down in a comfortable position, but not in a position where it's gonna make you fall asleep right away. So not your usual position that you sleep in, but slightly different, so that your body doesn't think that you're just going to sleep, right? So it's a little less comfortable than usual, so that you stay awake at least long enough to repeat the scene that we'll talk about here a few times. So just put down comfortable, and then you're gonna, then this is probably the most important part. You're gonna pick a scene that implies your desired reality is already fulfilled. Not that it will be or that it has just become fulfilled, but it's already sure, like it's just already, it implies that it's already yours, basically. So scene, wish fulfilled. Once you've picked a scene, and it must be a scene that is short, super short, and in fact, here are the requirements for that scene. So it needs to be less than 5 seconds. It needs to be first person. And the reason for that is you don't want to visualize something very vividly and real and make it like real in your subconscious, that it does get accepted. And then eventually, a week from now, a couple months from now, you see that exact same scene play out in front of you, and it's in third person, so it's someone else getting the thing that you were supposed to get, right? So you just want to make sure that it's first person, and then as vividly as possible, and including all senses. So this is key, because this is how you tell your subconscious that this is actually happening. So like the example earlier where you're watching a movie, you really just have your visual and your auditory, and it's causing a physiological response in you by watching that movie, right? So if you're scared of heights or whatever, I'm not scared of heights, I don't think. But if you are, and my hands do get sweaty anyway, so I don't know what's up with that. But if you're watching this movie and you get those physiological response of watching the movie, or maybe it's a scary movie and you jump, right? All of that is pointing to the same thing, that your mind doesn't know the difference between something that is just visualized and not real, versus something that you're actually experiencing, because it's actually doing the things that your body would do if you were experiencing those things. So same thing here, bring in all 5 senses. And the best way to do this, and this is something that Neville talked about extensively, is to have a scene that, like I said, implies that you already have the thing that you wish for, and this whatever happened to have you received that thing happen in the past, right? So you're not dictating how you would get that thing. You're just visualizing already having that thing. So post manifestation, and I like to have in my own visualization, because it's easier for me, I like to have somebody that I trust and love come up to me and congratulate me, maybe like getting a hug from someone or somebody shaking your hand, whatever it is that you desire, your wish, your desired reality is, having somebody come up to you and say, hey, congratulations that you were able to do X, Y, Z. Right? So the example earlier where I gave a presentation, just hearing from all the people that were involved and even people that were not in that call saying, wow, that was amazing. I heard that went really, really well. And I'm hearing nothing but good things about that. Right. Or, if I'm performing somewhere, somebody saying that was an amazing performance that you give, right? So something like that, you can make it super short. It doesn't involve you going through the whole, in this example, like going through the whole presentation even. It can just be like after the fact, and it implies that it went well. So Kobe Bryant used to practice an entire game in his mind before he stepped into the court. He would, shoot every shot and like visualize how the ball bounced off the rim and who got the rebound, all that stuff in his head. And then by the time he got into the court, he already played the game. He already won the game before he got on there. So that can play a factor too. But because we're doing this right before going to sleep, and because we know that this works, like whatever you visualize and your subconscious accepts, it will happen into your reality. You don't need to visualize the whole set of events and things, a whole entire game in order for that to happen. You just have to visualize something that implies that has happened the way that you want it to happen. And then you will get that in your experienced reality. And this is what happened, and I alluded to this when my family, we needed a new car. Family is growing. We're kind of crowded in this sedan, and this was right around the time of the pandemic. So prices of the cars were kind of very weird and went all over the place, went a little high. So I visualized exactly like this. I only did this a few times, but I visualized the exact scene, first person, feeling the seat and the steering wheel of the exact minivan that we wanted. And the extra seats and the spacious interior, and looking at my family, all the smile on their faces, and we're about to go on a road trip. I think it was like a 3 to 5 second scene max. And I did this a few times, a few nights during a week. And when I do it, I repeat it, as many times as I can before I fall asleep, basically. But 3 total nights, and then within, I don't remember exactly how long it took, but through a series of events that I could not have predicted, truly, because I would have thought maybe I would have gotten an extra paycheck somewhere, or additional payment from someone, or something, right? But it actually came in the form of a relative that actually, and this is true, actually won the lottery and gave a generous gift to my wife, along with a bunch of other family members. And that didn't pay for the van, but it allowed us to put a down payment, and allowed us to get the minivan, whereas we wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. All right, so that's just an example of how that works, and that speaks to the bridge of incidents as well that Neville talked about, where if you visualize something that is kind of in between, like you visualize scratching the ticket that won the lottery for yourself, you're limiting how that result can come to you, versus visualizing post manifestation, right? So after you've already gotten your wish is fulfilled, then that can come to you however God decides, however the universe or the absolute, however makes sense in the grand scheme of things for that to come to you. So that leaves the door open. It's a little easier, I think, and that's also a belief, right? So there's lots of beliefs, but that's my belief, and I think that will help you as well to manifest, to actually visualize after the fact, so that you're not limiting yourself. And that's really it. So you do this, like I said, you do this looping in your mind until you fall asleep, or until you're getting tired of it, until it feels like, just make sure it's feeling good, and then you're having the right feelings that go along with that. So along with the physical sensations, the senses, you want to have the feelings that would be natural to you if that thing were true, right? So if you're somebody that is naturally gets very excited about this sort of thing, and you're visualizing, getting your dream car, for example, after the fact, right? So you just have that feeling of, oh yeah, I've had this car for a month now, and it still feels just as amazing to drive as the first time, right? So you're putting that car into gear. I don't know, there's no gears anymore. I don't like it that all the cars, you cannot buy a car that is a manual standard car. Even the sports cars, the best cars, they're just they're automatic now. Anyway, I'm working on that manifestation to bring those old school manual transmission cars back into reality. But anyway, so whatever feelings will be natural to you, that's what you bring into that situation. And you loop it, and eventually you're going to fall asleep, and you're going to get a feeling, if you've done this right, that you're all set, right? So what happened to me is I almost forgot that we still have that sedan, right? So I was like, I would almost be surprised going up to the sedan and being like, where's the van, right? Or talking to a friend and describing my car. I have to remind myself, no, it's not that one. It's still the old one. So if you do this correctly, it becomes almost like a memory. And that's, you're going to get the sense, the feeling that this is done, this is all set now. And you're going to, basically, it's something that you would know. And then once you get that feeling, you can stop. You can keep going if you want to. You don't have to. In theory, you only need to do this once if you do it correctly. But at least when you're first getting started, it's hard to know when to stop, right? So you can keep going if you want to, if you still feels good. But if you do it correctly, you're done. And then, just like if you plant in a seed, you don't want to plant a seed under the ground and then constantly be digging that up, because obviously the seed needs time to germinate and grow into a tree or whatever it is that you planted over there, right? So once you get that feeling that this is done, then you take that and hold on to it, that your subconscious has been implanted with that belief, and that it will manifest into your reality. And that's all you need to do. The thing that you don't want to do is just to second guess it, right? And just be like, maybe it's not done, because that's the equivalent of you trying to pick up that seed and remove it from the ground and then plant it again, which, you can plant it again and it'll work. But if you keep doubting it and removing it, it's like Jesus said, if you believe and do not doubt, you can do X, Y, Z. But the key part is, once you've done it, that's it. You've already done it. It's coming to you in its due time, in whatever gestation period it covers, and whatever bridge of incidents need to happen in order for that reality to manifest in your life. And then the last thing, the level beyond visualization. So all these things that I've been discussing are just, they're there to help you implant an idea into your subconscious, like I said, like we've been talking about. But visualization is just one method. And if you believe enough you don't even have to do a visualization. You don't have to do anything specific other than being the person that already has that desire, the person that already has that reality, that manifestation in their lives, right? So I've done this in my life where, and probably the best example would be when I was making about 50K a year. This is a while ago in sales, and I just didn't believe that I was someone that could make more money because of the upbringing that I had, lots of limiting beliefs that I had to work through. And eventually I started noticing that the people around me that were making much more money than I was in commissions, because I was in sales, they weren't doing anything different than I was doing. And they were making the same, going through the same motions, making the same calls, sounding the same on the phone, doing the same things basically, and they were getting much better results. And that's when I realized there is no difference between what they're doing and what I'm doing. And if they can get this, I can also get this. So that just happened instantly. And I believed that I could get the money. And very quickly after that, I went from more than doubled, right? So I think I went from 50 to 120K in a year. And through big deals that came in, again, bridge of incidents that came in, and things started falling into place. Even though I didn't change anything that I was doing, things just happened to fall into place. You know, maybe I don't remember. I think I might have gotten a new territory or something like that, but it came from that belief. And then once the belief got implanted into the subconscious mind, like we talked about earlier, once the belief is in the subconscious mind, it will manifest into your reality no matter what. So visualization is a way to do this, but you don't have to do it that way. You can go beyond and just be the person. And if you're being that person, you will do the things that person does automatically, and you will have the things that person has. So it's just it's a virtuous cycle. Anyway, that's what I had here for you guys. So hopefully this helps. This is how you visualize so powerfully that it becomes a memory and gets implanted into your subconscious. We went over the proof, the science, the examples, and exactly how to do this. And if you're still watching, thank you first of all. And it's no coincidence that you're here. This is a new channel, and if you believe in synchronicities, click on this video. It's the one the algorithm thinks that you'll most benefit from next after watching this video. And I'll see you there. Take care.